Hey friends, welcome back to the Destination Baby and Kids YouTube channel. This is Gina. I am super excited to be here with you to go over that fabulous car seat that you see behind me. What are we going to be looking at today? We are going to be checking out the Graco Easy Turn 360 revolving car seat. So typically I would tell you to head to my website, destinationbabykids.com, if you like the seat that you see in this video, and then you could buy it directly from me, but I do not carry Graco products. So this is strictly just a review video and a little explanation. I do have a whole series of videos which will be linked to here about rotational car seats. Rotational car seats are one of my favorite subjects, so I just wanted to be sure to include this guy because I did see it at the show, thought it was pretty fabulous, and I wanted to buy one and kind of familiarize myself with it so that I would be able to explain it to you all. So it does have a fatal flaw in my opinion, so we will launch into that, but let's go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Go ahead and like the video. If you have questions at the end, leave a comment, but let's launch into the Graco Easy Turn 360 convertible car seat. So this is the Easy Turn, as you see right here. It's a very nice option. It does work from 4 pounds in a rear facing mode up to 40 pounds. And then it will go to 26.5 pounds through 65 pounds in a forward facing mode. So this is a true convertible car seat. It does not do any booster option, which is fine. It is just backward and forward. Price point on this guy is going to be $329. So this is a very, very aggressively priced car seat. It only comes in 2 colors that I was able to see. This one is called cyan, and then they do like more of a black. So this is just kind of a gray option, which is pretty cool. The seat has an infant insert in it. So that is this body pillow piece and this head piece. Those pieces are fully removable. Those pieces come out after 20 pounds, and they are meant to be used exclusively in a rear-facing mode. So you don't want to use either of these pieces with a kiddo. So this is the body piece, and this is the head piece. So you wouldn't want to use these pieces for a kiddo that weighed more than 20 pounds, and you would only use those pieces in a rear-facing mode. So I've removed them just so that the viewing audience can see here. The seat has 10 different positions. It's pretty audible when you move it up and down, which is, useful, I think, for some parents. Again, you'd adjust this prior to kiddo. You'd kind of set them in there, check the size, take them out, and then do the adjustment based on what you needed. But there are 10 different spots. Now, our harness height goes all the way up to, so from butt to the top of the shoulder is going to be 16 inches. I didn't measure the starting harness height, and again, you could start a kiddo at 4 pounds provided you had that pillow in there, but this does start at 7 inches, so it goes from 7 all the way up to 16 inches of seated torso height. All right, the seat itself weighs 26 pounds. It's 17 inches wide, so it's a very narrow car seat. It does have a very narrow belt path when you do an installation. So in my Toyota Grand Highlander, in the middle seat, the installation was tighter and better than installing it on the side. I'm going to make a separate installation video of this, so please don't worry about it if we don't talk about it very thoroughly here. You can check out my other video for that. But it does have a narrow belt path for installation, so just something to be aware of there. It has a 10-year expiration, so that's very exciting. That means that if you buy it, based on the date it's manufactured, 10 years after that date, the seat expires and it can no longer be utilized. And then obviously there would be different rules about if you got in a car accident, based on what it says in the manual, so you need to check that. But it does have a 10-year expiration, and it has a 1-year warranty. So that's pretty typical of something in this price range. The seat is made in China. You do get 2 cup holders that can kind of pop out or in. The narrowest part of the seat is 9.5 inches on the interior, and then up here at the shoulders, I did measure it to be 11.5 inches wide. So that's sort of your narrowest to widest on the interior of the seat. It is not certified for use in an airplane. So most convertible seats, meaning most backward to forward stationary seats, ones that don't have rotation, are able to be used in a plane. This seat, because it's rotational, it's not able to. So something to be aware of there. Now, conversely, what's very exciting about the seat is that it's FMVSS 213A compliant. This is a new side impact test that car seats don't even actually have to worry about being compliant to until 2026 of December. and probably even beyond that, they'll have some time to become compliant. But what that means is that this just has really good side impact testing, and it passes that test. Additionally, Graco also does their own rollover test for this seat, so that's very exciting. Your rear-facing latch limit on the seat, I meant to get this before we started, but your rear-facing latch limit, I believe, is going to be 35 pounds, and then your forward-facing is 40. So as you see, I just spun the seat around, no problem. So your forward-facing latch limit is 40, and then your rear-facing is going to be 35 pounds on the latch limit. So once we would hit those weights, we'd move to installation with a seatbelt. I would always advocate for a seatbelt installation with a convertible seat, just so that you never have to switch it over, but it's just good to know. Okay, the seat also has one-handed operation for the turning. So as you can see, I only need one free hand to be able to do that, so that's very cool. And another feature that's very cool about the seat, it does have a 2-position crotch belt. The crotch belt pieces are going to be at 4.5 to 6.5 inches depth, and you use whatever is closest to the kiddo without being under their body. This seat will have pocket retainers for your buckle tongue. So you're able to actually set your buckle tongues over and set them into little storage pockets. So when you're taking kiddo in and out of the seat, you're not digging those out from under their tuchus. So one thing I want to point out is that Graco does a different rotating car seat that is only able to turn toward the door for loading a kiddo in and out when it's in rear-facing mode. So what's particularly special about this seat from Graco is that now, in forward-facing mode, we can actually turn the seat toward the door, take our child out, leave it like that, close the door, move on with our day, come back with our kiddo later, put them in the seat, and spin them to be forward-facing. So Graco already makes a turning car seat called Turn to Me that you can't do that. Now, what do I think is the fatal flaw or is frustrating about this car seat? Okay, it's a little difficult to articulate, so you guys, I'm gonna do my best to explain this. All the other rotational car seats that do 360, so that would be your Kiko, I forget what it's called, but Kiko makes one, Evenflow makes a slim fit 360 seat. They also make a Revolve regular 360 seat that's an all-in-one. Cybex makes an excellent all-in-one rotational car seat called the Callisto. Nuna even makes a rotational car seat called the Rev. All of those seats have this option, and I was particularly excited about this seat to give it to my best friend because she has a daughter who's 1 and a son that's 2, or he's actually going to be 3. So she has a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. So with her 1-year-old would be rear-facing in this seat. So I'm going to turn the seat toward the camera here, and again. So her 1-year-old would be rear-facing, which means her 1-year-old would face this direction. So I thought, oh, this will be so cool for McKenna, my friend, because when she wants to pick up her daughter, she'll be able to go pick up her daughter and have the car seat in backward mode, load her daughter in the car, set it, and then drive off, drop her kid off at home. And then if she wanted to go pick up her son, she could have the same car seat in her car, right? And then when she goes to pick up her son, she'd be able to, have the seat turned toward the door. She'd take her 3-year-old son, put him in the car seat, and because he's forward-facing, the seat would be able to click forward. So, with every other rotational car seat on the market that is 360, you are able to do that. This seat is a total outlier because you cannot switch from rear-facing mode to forward-facing mode on the fly. So Graco has done a good job of addressing being able to have the seat be forward-facing and still turn toward the door, which is awesome. But if you were trying to have a seat, like I'm an aunt, I'm not a mother, and I wouldn't have this dedicated for just one kid. I'd be looking for one car seat that I could do different kinds of adjustments on the fly to pick up different age children and have them be in the correct orientation no matter what kiddo I'm picking up. So the thing that was particularly frustrating about this is that I feel like this is a solvable thing for them. Even if they want to keep the design technically the same, Moving one piece on this would enable this seat to have that feature moving forward. So I'm really, really shocked that they didn't offer this. So typically, this piece right here is called a top tether, and this seat has a top tether storage on the back of this, what's called anti-rebound panel. So when we buckle this into a car for backward facing, that piece is tucked away and it is not accessible whatsoever when this is correctly installed and you're using it in backward facing mode. So for a forward facing mode, you would install the seat identically, but instead of having this piece attached to the seat, which is a top tether, you attach it to a third position in your car. And this is true of all forward facing car seats in the United States. They all have this option to do top tether. It greatly increases the safety of a seat in the forward-facing mode, specifically for preventing what's referred to as forward head excursion, okay? So if I wanted to have this kid be forward-facing, I would need to uninstall the seat, take that piece out, and then reinstall the seat, which they do have this lever lock, snug lock system that they use, which is like an arm on the actual seat to be able to help compress the seatbelt down to make it tight for the person that's installing. But I think about like a grandparent doing this, you know, I mean, why make them do this extra step? This is ridiculous. So now if I had my rear facing kid and I'm done with them, now I'm gonna switch over to my forward facing. So I uninstalled it, I hooked up my top tether, and then I reinstall, and again, seat's not, I'm gonna make it really relatively loose so we can just move on with our day. So you would close that, and then now, because this top tether's installed, we'd be able to utilize the seat in a forward-facing orientation. So this was really bizarre. It stood out to me so strongly in the book, and to their credit, the instruction book on this seat is incredibly clear. I called their customer service and I spoke with a super kind car seat technician at their customer service named Nathaniel. And I have to say, A+ Graco on your customer service. Your car seat techs were amazing, very easy to speak with, totally professional, really kind. So they do have great customer service. But I said, hey, can't I just hook this up and then use it in rear-facing mode anyway? Can't I just cheat and use it this way so that I can switch the seat up on the fly as I want? And he's like, no, you can't. So then I thought, like, okay, well, let's say I wanted to use it for backward facing and I just unhooked it. The problem there is that now this becomes a projectile if you stop suddenly and can hit the kiddo. So my question to Graco is, why wouldn't you have a storage compartment for this somewhere on the side of the anti-rebound panel that's accessible? Or even conceivably on the front, or just somewhere where we could hook it up and tighten it down so that a caregiver could switch between modes on the fly if they wanted to. This seat is lacking that compared to every other 360 seat on the market, and I can't believe that no one thought to address that in the design of it. So while it's an excellent car seat and it meets a lot of the criteria that people would maybe want, that is one fatal flaw. Okay, an additional flaw of the seat, to be fair, is that they claim that the seat has 4-position recline in both forward and rear facing mode. That is true. It does have that. However, one thing that I always brag about to my customers is that if you buy a rotational car seat, you can adjust the recline with your kids sitting in the seat on the fly. So again, you're having a long trip, they're normally more upright, you want them more reclined. Typically, with the 360 reclining car seat, like the Cybex Callisto or the No-rethread, you'll be able to squeeze a handle and recline the seat with the kiddos still in the seat to give them more recline for sleeping. However, with this seat, the recline has to be set prior to installation. So there's a recline handle on the back of the seat, which will enable you to do more upright or more reclined. You definitely want to keep your fingers out of the way. You don't want to lose them. But the reality is once this is correctly installed, that recline won't be shiftable any longer. So you would pick whatever recline position you want prior to installation, then you would install it. So if your hope was to get a seat that would work and have adjustment on the fly and do the 360 rotation, Unfortunately, this seat won't do that, but it definitely still does an excellent job doing rotation with kids in specific orientation mode. So like if you're not switching it between children, if it's for one kind of specific ride dedicated, and again, you can adjust the height up and down here for the rear facing and forward facing, but it's just that if they were sitting in different orientations, you would probably want to look at a different 360 seat instead of this seat. So that's just very, very atypical and something I definitely wanted to cover about the seat itself. Otherwise for $329, it's a pretty great option. I mean, I would still pick it over a Safety First. I would still pick it over an ME 360. I wouldn't pick it over a Kiko. I'd pick a Kiko still as my like low cost 360 seat. And people are like, Kiko doesn't have any recline. This doesn't either. But Kiko would give you the option to switch kids on the fly, and Kiko gives you the option to purchase a base separately if you want to switch the car seat between cars. I'd also argue the installation with Kiko is easier because you can remove the seat from the base and have a clear belt path, whereas here it's a little more cumbersome to see. Also, again, this is a very narrow belt path on this seat. So, totally fabulous little seat, $329. Pretty awesome, but again, very surprising to see that design issue. And I hope that in subsequent models moving forward, they adjust that, because otherwise it's pretty fabulous. You do get the bike helmet foam through the headrest of the seat, not in the actual seat plastic interior, but up here in the seat, and then there is a steel frame. So, if you have questions or you have comments, please feel free to leave them below. Go ahead and watch my video of how to install this if you're curious. Yeah, but any other questions, leave them below. I would normally say buy it from my website, but if you want to go look at those other rotational car seats, check out the videos on those, or head to my website, destinationbabykids.com. You could check out a Cybex Callisto, which is a fabulous value. You could check out a No-rethread, which is also a really awesome option. Both of those are 360 rotational seats that I do sell. Okay, guys, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next video.